All right, and I just realized that I did not update all of that slide, but it's okay. We're here. And that's why we do this live, so that we can laugh at ourselves later and have a good time. So I am joined by J.A. Bryden here, and we are celebrating the release of his book, Destin. And I am excited to have the chat this wonderful Black Friday for me, but I believe it is Saturday for you because you are from Australia, down under.
We are, the future.
All right. That's right. You are in the future. You have made it to the weekend. Although it's a holiday weekend for me, so I have that privilege. But I'll do a quick introduction. So J.A. is hailing from Hawkesbury, New South Wales in Australia. Like all good kids from the 80s and 90s, you grew up with dial-up internet and street lights as a curfew. So after avoiding books for most of your life, you're somehow writing them. And as a result, you're a sucker for a good story, and you love chatting with fellow indie authors and creatives on your podcast, Stories of the True and the Fictional. So now you are on the other side of the camera here, and you are the one being interviewed. So I am excited to have you. With that, I'd love to give you a chance to go ahead and pitch your story that is now out and available for purchase.
Yes, well, it's like most books. I have trouble pitching anything. Ned Kelly with aliens is the quickest way to describe it, but it's basically a bit of a rundown. It's 60 years after an alien invasion, and they have full control. They took over the world without firing a single shot, and our main character Destin gets a peek behind the curtain of all the facade of these wonderful aliens, and then sets off to start a rebellion.
I mean, that was a pretty efficient and effective pitch there. So I would say, for somebody who doesn't think they do that great, you did fine, perfectly fine. Yeah. All right. So obviously this is not the first book you've released. No. If I am correct, was this a prequel to some of your other work? Okay.
Yeah, it's the prequel to the last official one. I released a novelette recently, but this is a prequel to the last actual physical book. And a lot more people have been jumping on this one. And I'm going shouldn't you read the last one first?
Maybe. Cool. So same world, prequel to, is it Ancora?
Ancora, yep.
Yeah. All right. And what made you decide to write a prequel to that story?
Was it my co-host Ryan on my podcast. Because I Destin's in the first one, Ancora, in a flashback kind of thing, and then a lot of people like the character, so I figured, you know what, let's go back 250 years and see what started it all. It ended up being a lot longer than Ancora, almost double the length. So
wow.
Yeah.
So I'm looking a bit at your catalog, and I'm not quite so it looks like you have a variety of things that you are putting out there into the world. I'm curious as far as, do you have a genre of specific genre that you're dabbling in, or are you all over the place? Because I see an emu general and the zombie hands and
I like to push myself as a writer to see what I'm good at and see what I'm bad at. Emu War was what got me into writing. It was going to be a movie. The movie almost got made, then fell through, and then I thought, let's do something with it. And I don't know, somewhere along the line I said, let's write a book, and that's what got me into writing books. So that was kind of something that had to be done. And then it's just, it's fun, it's satire, it's funny, it's hilarious. And then now I'm trying to write more serious stuff, and it's everyone keeps going back to the first one. The emu war, everyone just wants. It's my number one seller. It keeps selling. But yeah, I'm just dabbling in everything, and now I'm working on series and stuff like that.
All right. So this book it's a prequel to another novel, like you said. It's longer than. Where do you see yourself spending more time in this world, or where is the story going?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 more books planned for Ancora, so that was going to be a trilogy, and then I just recorded last week a podcast for like my podcast, and then I had Ryan saying there has to be a sequel to the prequel, and then I had someone else saying there has to be a prequel to the prequel. So it's maybe there'll be prequels and sequels to the prequel. But there's definitely going to be another 2 for Ancora, and I'm currently working on a fantasy at the moment just to give myself a bit of a, palate cleanser between the world.
That'll definitely keep you busy. I'm curious. So you wrote the one book, you have a trilogy planned, and you kind of went off and did the prequel before continuing that. I'm curious as far as, was that more of just where the inspiration was? What pushed you to go that route versus finishing or carrying on?
I think part of me was I wanted to lay down more of the lore, so I had kind of rules to to the foundation, because even when I was doing it, I was going, I wanted to do things, I'm going, I can't because of Ancora. I've got to keep things within the foundation of the world and that stuff. So I think if I went back first, then I could lay more of a foundation down, and I could get more ideas for the book 2 and 3, which I already have now.
Okay, so ideas for book 2 and 3. So do you you're not quite sure where it's going, or
no? Well,
I have your question.
No, well, I'm a loose plotter because things will change. They always change. I can't control it. So there's a very rough outline for books 2 and 3. I know the twists that I want to happen. I'm huge on twists. I love twists. A lot of them are genre bending twists sometimes. So yeah, it's like I know where I'm going roughly. I know how I want it to end, but that could change because I am a bit of a pantser as well.
Excellent. Okay, so you mentioned that this character was somebody who appeared in the main novel, and that Ryan here was the pressure here to maybe explore that particular character more. Is this like one of the? I'm assuming that this character is maybe like a side character in your main novel. So what about it? I guess I'm going to ask Ryan the question. What about this particular character was so inspirational that you felt the need to pressure your poor friend here into writing a whole nother book?
Well, I think Destin is my favorite part of the book was the flashback, and I think in Ancora the flashback takes part over about 3 or 4 chapters, and it was. Jamie knows me. I'm a completionist. I like to know everything about everything. So if there's a book that has 12 or 14 volumes, that doesn't bother me. I'm going to read them all. So, yeah, same with TV shows. If there's a season that's got 20 seasons, I'm going to watch them all. So I wanted to know a lot more about that, and I guess I was asking a lot of questions, and that kind of worked to my advantage because it got him to write this prequel. So if this novel succeeds, I take full responsibility and expect a royalty check. But no, Destin is such a different character from the main character in Ancora. He was there when, yes, it is set 50, 60 years after the aliens come and take over, but it's a lot closer than 300 years, which is in Ancora. So you get more of a view on the aliens. You get more of a view on, an actual rebellion with, a fair few people. And at that stage, I think we haven't had aliens invade, but at that stage in, 50, 60 years, people are still hopeful that we're going to win. We're going to get rid of these guys. But, Ancora is set 300 years after that. So there's not no spoilers, but there's not much hope in Ancora except for our main character who has that spark of the revolution. But yeah, I need to know everything about everything. And as I said, James, where I Destin finishes, there's still a lot more ground to be covered. So I'm currently pressuring him writing a sequel to the prequel so that I can have more information, because I'm not a sci-fi fan, which is weird, but I love this world. And I think it's one, because it's loosely based on an area in Australia, which I'm very familiar with. And two, I read everything Jamie writes, usually before it comes out, and he just got away with getting you to feel for characters and getting you to fall in love with the story. And that proved right with me, because I don't hate sci-fi, but I don't actively seek it. But if he wrote another 3 books this year about it, I'd get them all, read them all. So, yeah.
All right. 3 books this year. You're ready. You have 1 month.
Well, this actually is my 3rd book this year.
That's right. All right. So I was going to go there. I was going to ask as far as speed. So I don't know like when this suggestion was made to when you are actually starting to write versus completing this novel. I'm curious. I always want to know, like, some people are like have been working on their book and they're releasing it, and it's been 5 years that they've been nurturing this thing, and then I mean I think you know that I'm also on the more prolific side of the side, so I'm curious as far as timeline for your process here.
Well, Ancora came out in June, so it's been 6 months, but it only took me 3 months to do Destin. I was made redundant in March, I think, this year, and it's been tough finding work. I've been, doing bits and bobs, mowing lawns and stuff like that to scrape by, but I've had a lot of free time, so that
helps a lot.
I just sat down and I knocked out Destin in about 3 months. So I'm pretty quick once I know where I'm going. But the one I'm working on now is a fantasy. That's going to be a lot longer. I'm taking a lot more time with that one, so that could be, I don't know, a year maybe. And I write short books, so.
Okay. I'm curious as far as, like, again, you're genre hopping and you're pushing yourself and you're talking about that. I'm curious as far as, do you feel like that helps your creative process? Are you disciplined or good at coming back to things, or do you not know yet?
I don't know yet, but I know I'm getting better. It's just like my process is getting quicker. I'm picking up on mistakes more often. Ryan, when he beta reads and alpha reads for me, he's pointing out things less. So
yeah,
I know that I'm getting better at stuff, but I'm realizing at the same time that I'm not ready for certain genres. Like, I'm only just starting to do a fantasy, and for my book 6, and I've always loved fantasy. I've always wanted to do fantasy. I've tried to do it before. I've got maybe 2 incomplete manuscripts sitting there, and it's just my first attempt, and realizing, no, I can't do this. This is too much of a slog. And now it's just, this current one is just easy. I'm finding it super easy. So it's working towards something, with it, like a video game, leveling up, starting easy and then building up to what you can, be better at.
So it sounds like you were not much of a reader growing up. When did you decide, like, what was, you mentioned getting, starting to write, but like, again, I have a similar use case where I wasn't much of a reader myself either. So it's fascinating to me to see other people that are kind of going on that journey and like suddenly find themselves with a stack full of novels.
Yeah, well, I didn't, what was it? The first 27 years of my life, I'd only ever read 2 books cover to cover, Jurassic Park and the second Jurassic Park.
Good choice. I mean,
yeah. Well, my parents were desperate for me to read, so they went, this book's not appropriate for a child, but I don't care. You read it, and I absolutely loved it. I read that at 12 years old, I think. And then I was just like, I need the second one. So, and then that was it, And I didn't really start reading until 27. I really started getting into Ned Kelly and history and stuff like that. So that's what got me into reading. I still didn't read much fictional stuff, but yeah, I think it's around the time when I was like, I had this story, I really wanted to tell it. I didn't care how I could tell it. I just had to tell it. And then, I don't know, book popped in my head. And that's basically what sparked me back into reading, back into writing books. I figured, if I'm writing all these books, I probably should read some.
Yeah.
Well.
It does generally help a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
It gives you some ideas anyways. Well, I think that's fascinating because it shows, like, to me, everybody's journey is a little bit different and there's no right way to get to where you ended up. So now you're writing. Do you have like a process, like every day you got to write, or, any formality around your writing?
Not really. It's just write when I can. I'll get a bit of inspiration and I'll sit there. Like, there's times where I'm like going, oh, I'll just write for a bit, and then it's like 3 hours. It's been 4 hours. It's just like I can pump it out when I have to. I've had a few really good stints over the last few weeks, but then because I podcast as well and I do a lot of editing and I want to help support other indie authors by getting their stuff out there too. I bounce between writing and podcasting. But if I can sit down and get a good session out, I can.
So how has your experience been with the podcast and talking to other people of you?
It's been amazing. We started not as anything to do with being an author or anything like that, or books or anything. We started out something completely differently, and then when I got into writing, we started interviewing authors, and it's just been incredible. I've learned so much. Well, I think I'd written 2 books and I didn't even know the term pantser and plotter, so I've learned a lot more, and it's just, I don't think there's been any bad guests we've had on. They've just been all awesome people, and it's just great to see so many creative people out there. Like, I just can't overwhelmed with how many indie authors there actually are. You can't, like, we'll be able to interview indie authors forever. They just keep coming.
All right. And then I always ask people, as far as plan or how they have handled their launch. So you've had this is a prequel. Mm-hmm. It sounds like your idea, in your ideal world, they would read the main book first and then go to the prequel versus starting with the prequel and reading forward. So that might change your approach for how you market or push or get readers. But I'm curious, as far as your process to prepare for this book coming out. I believe you did an art campaign, so it's like, how did you recruit readers? Like, I'd be curious to tell me about that.
Yeah, well, this has actually probably been I made more of an effort with Ancora, but this one seems to be more successful. Like, more people are jumping on this one. I know Josh from Already Overbooked grabbed a copy. So it's like everyone's grabbing this book, even though it says right there in the tagline, a prequel. Everyone's jumping on. Had a reviewer that said, what it was like. It's like they said some of the side plots didn't make too much sense to them, or they didn't land for them. And I'm going like, well, that's because it's connected to something else.
First book,
it's a book that I don't mind if you read this one first and Ancora. Or if you read Ancora and then this one, I just think you have to read both of them to get the full picture. But this, I just I've networked a lot. I've gotten a lot more followers. I've connected with a lot more people. And it's just like, I just put it out there now and then people just jumped on it. I think I got about 10 ARC readers for this one when Ancora only had like 4, so.
Pretty good.
I just post a lot, really. I've never had all the funds to do all the ad campaigns and everything like that. So I just kind of do it the old fashioned way and just let people know, just, hey, check this out,
It can be grueling as far as just trying to amass the right following and get the readers.
It's a what do you call it? It's a slow process. I think like some actor, I can't remember his name, said that like it takes 20 years to have an overnight success, so something like that. So that's kind of my method, slow and steady. You'll build build up to something, and suddenly people will want to read all your books.
That's the hope, anyways. So.
Or just put an emu on the front cover.
I mean, that's highly effective in marketing. I can guarantee. You stick that in a pile of like the covers with just the sword or the flowers, and that'll get them. Awesome. So I'm always curious. Okay, we lost him.
We'll be back.
But I'm always curious as far as like the process. So you wrote this pretty quick. Obviously Ryan was a beta. It sounds like he's a beta reader for you. You've got an ARC team. But I'm curious as far as like how you handle some of the other stuff. Like how do you handle the editing stuff and get your covers together and do all that work and make the finished product? If you have any thoughts or advice to people or input there.
Well, it all depends on budget for me. So I haven't had hardly any budget. I put all of my budget into Ancora, So if with the Ancora series, I've got an artist that I use, and I want to use them for every single cover because I just want to keep it looking the same. But I did Destin myself. I used to use Canva and a few of the free image sites like Pixabay. You can get some real cool stuff, and I just threw that together. Use the same font as Ancora to let people know it's the same series.
Yeah.
But I tend to try and do as much of everything myself. So I did the editing myself, but I had a huge gap between writing and editing. I like to come back to it with fresh eyes. And, with beta readers, they can always Ryan's been great for pointing out things I may have missed. And I always, thoroughly check it before I release it. So, yeah. Yeah, but as for advice, I don't know. Just be sure. I think that's the biggest thing. Don't rush it out the door. Just be sure.
I would second that heartily. Yep.
Just, are you sure? Like, ask yourself that question at least 3 times. Are you sure this is ready to be released? Because I know budgets can be very, very tight for indie authors.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's hard to get noticed. It's hard to get. Everything costs money. It seems like everybody wants a piece of your dollar, your hard-earned dollar there. Yeah. Cool. So with this one, I'm interested to know as far as you mentioned that you're getting better at certain things, like there were writing, I don't know, things that you would do or get feedback on that you're not doing anymore. Do you have an example of something that was like maybe one of your bad habits or, writing things?
Well, grammar was a big one. I'd sometimes use the wrong name. Like in Ancora, there's a huge twist, and I had someone pointed out to me that I accidentally revealed the twist too early, like just by calling a character the wrong name or something like that. And it's like, I should have spotted that. It's grammar, turn of phrase, basically simple things like unnecessary sentences. Like I've got too much there, like something that, because I like when I tell a story, I like to keep it going, and I don't want anything in there to be unnecessary. So I had a huge problem with just leaving stuff there that probably shouldn't be there.
My bad habit was I loved began so much. I used it all the damn time, and somebody pointed out to me, and I was like, okay, I cannot not see it now, and so I catch myself.
Well, in Destin, there's a character who's based on a real author friend of mine and Ryan's called Amy Cormack. So we put him in there, but every single time that I had him mentioned, we said his full name. Amy Cormack, Amy Cormack, and I think it's like, he's at least 100 times you say Amy Cormack, and then someone pointed out, like, is that intentional to call him Amy Cormack all the time? And then I ended up changing it a little bit and changing it to like Amy, and then mixing it up a bit. But it was just funny for me because we always call him Amy Cormack, his full name,
That is it's a good one. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of indie authors. I think there's like 14 friends and indie authors in iDestin. Yeah,
That's interesting. So just little side
little
characters,
cameos.
or
Yep.
yeah, that's fun. So you become Jay's friend here, you're going to end up in a book. Watch out.
Well, Ryan just expects
for better or worse.
Ryan expects it.
Yep.
Are you in there, Ryan, and any of them?
He's in.
Yeah, I mean, two of them, I think. I mean, the Wedding Night trilogy as a Uber driver, because that's what I used to do for work. And then in this book, I am a musician, which is what I used to do in a previous life with Jamie. That's how we met. Me and Jamie both played in punk rock bands, and we met. And then, we used to play shows. Every show my band would play, Jamie's band would play, and then vice versa. So we got to, and then we found out we were both massive nerds. So we started talking, and then everything went from there. So, I have appeared in 2 books. I think I should have appeared in all of them, but what can you do?
It should be in all of them.
Yep.
Of course. Only if you get like the axe, in all of them different ways.
Oh, I'm fine with that. I'm a massive horror fan. I'm fine with dying in any book. I tell people, if you want to put me in and give, we've interviewed a lot of horror authors, and I said, please just like put me in your book and murder me gruesomely. I'm fine with that.
All right. So as a genre hopper, you got the sci-fi, you got the comedy, you got the fantasy. What would you say would be like the genre that would stretch you the most? Like that you would have to really work for it to make it work?
Well, it's fantasy. It's been fantasy. It's been a very long time. Because I did Emu War, and then I wanted to do fantasy. And I was just like, I just can't do this. I can't do this. And for me, it's always finding a way. Like, yes, I want to do it, but how's the way that I get into it? How's the way that I can do it? Because even with Ancora was a story I had in my head before the Emu War, and then it took almost 10 years to go. Okay, it's going to work as a book, So, but yeah, fantasy it's been tough, but it's also been so refreshing. I love it. I just got to take a lot of notes because it's going to be a long book.
So what is it about the fantasy that you find challenging? Is it the world building kind of? I'm just curious. What is?
I think it might be something to do with how much of a pantser I am, and it takes a lot more to plan. Like I had to create a world, but then I decided to use a world that was a D&D campaign that me and my friends have been doing for like 10 years. So it's part of that, going into something that I know very well.
Okay, that helps. Yep.
Having that foundation. But I think it's just also I don't like long books. Like Ancora is like 50,000 words.
I was going to say, define long book.
What's Mike Molman say? Nothing over 500 pages. Yeah, because iDestin's my longest book. It's 76,000 words, and even that was a bit daunting.
That's funny because that's like my shortest.
Yeah. Do you write fantasy?
I in fact do.
There you go.
And ironically, the one with the least fantasy elements would be the shortest book. So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's good to have the shorter books. Like I find that it's easier for me certainly to pick something up that's 50,000 words and be able to commit to actually finishing it than it is. Like I look at something like Brandon Sanderson's like giant tomes and I'm like, I don't even know that I want to pick that up. Like it's a great paperweight, on your whatever, you gotta hold something down. But like that's a commit. But I can zip through your 50,000 words in a few days.
Yep. No, I'm trying to. Well, I want to keep all the Ancora novels the same, like similar length, so I can put them under one cover, because that'd be really cool to have under one cover, like a special edition.
Sure.
But the way I'm going, I don't know. I don't know if I think they'll just get longer. Now that I'm getting more comfortable with writing longer.
That's true. Yeah. But I like, even still, like, again, like those certain novels are just really, really fat, so you could totally get them still under one cover, even if you're doing that 76,000 words.
Yeah. Tiny writing.
I went to a show, and there was a woman who she had to get it special printed with Ingram Spark, I think, did it for her, but it was like super thick and really tiny font. She had gotten her whole like epic romantasy thing into one book that she was selling. I was like, I don't like tiny font like I want. But okay, you do you.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have an inspiration, like you mentioned when you started reading, picking up again, like inspirational author or anything like that you go to, or you draw from, or style after, or are you completely your own unique beast?
Well, I get most of my inspiration from film and TV and video games and stuff like that. One of my favorite writers of all times is Bill Lawrence, who did Scrubs. And I think I just draw a lot of inspiration from his ability to make you laugh and then cry within 30 seconds. He's just like, he can, sap, and then, he's just brilliant. Everything he does is brilliant. And I've always loved, I want to do a comedy, but if I do a comedy, it's going to be drama. I want to do a drama, there's going to be comedy. Like, Destin's got pretty dark moments, but there's also a lot of camaraderie and fun about it. And I just like being able to have a whole lot of different emotions in every story I tell, apart from the Emu War. That's just pure comedy. But Bill Lawrence. The inspiration for Ancora was Horizon Zero Dawn, that video game. Okay. But that's basically, I can't say that any books or specific authors would inspire me. Probably Michael Crichton, because it's the first book I ever read and absolutely loved. So bit of that. But I'm just more of a visual guy. So I just like to write things cinematically.
I think that works, and it makes sense. It's like a lot of us were steeped in this, grew up in the golden age, if you will, of like TV and film, and you're steeped in that like nerddom culture. So I'm kind of with you as far as like more of my inspirations or motivations for what I perceive of like the fantasy worlds, and this like what is sci-fi is all mostly TV or movie references floating around my head. That's cool. So you're working on this fantasy novel. You're hoping to get back to the Ancora. Geez, I can't think. Yeah.
That's right.
But tell that story. Where from there? Like, do you see yourself continuing to just keep writing and writing and writing, or do you feel like there's a finite number of stories to tell?
I'll give you a quick look at this, just because I'm sitting at my desk. All right. That's my list of ideas.
Woof, yep. That's a list. That'll keep you busy for quite some time.
And most of them are just ideas. Like, I'll hear something, I'll watch TV, a character will say a line, and I'll just go, that'd be a cool idea for a story, and just write it down. Nothing fully formed. My fully formed stories will take precedence over ideas. But I actually have a post-it note behind, just in front of my desk that's stuck there, and it's just like, these are my next projects. And anytime I feel inspiration, I go. So I've got like 4 there. But it's like Ancora, and then one I'm working on now called The Blood Moon Faith, which at this stage will be a standalone. Sorry, Ryan. there may be spin-offs, but
Say he'll come back and be like, "Well, I need more about this." Clearly,
yeah. Well, there's a lot of cool side characters, and I'm going, oh, jeez. And I think I'm trying because it's multi POV. There's 2 characters. It's almost like I'm technically writing 2 books. You know.
I don't know if that counts.
No.
All right. So you brought Ryan because Ryan has read the book, and you're the first guest that I've had that had one of their either betas or arcs come on, and I think that that's super cool. So the reason that I suggest that authors could bring them on is because I'd love a reader's eye view of J.A. his writing this book as far as what you thought. So I'm going to maybe kick over to Ryan here for a short while and kind of get a feel for this book and for J.A. as a writer from a reader's perspective anyways.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it was I read Ancora, I think maybe a month before it came out. So maybe in June or May, the month that comes before June. Yeah, possibly then. And then I read Destin, I think just like maybe a day or 2 after he'd finished it. He sent it to me. And yeah, I read Ancora over maybe 3 days, maybe 3-hour sessions. So yeah, say 9 hours it took me to read that. And Destin took a little bit longer, obviously, because it's almost double the size. But I really like this world because there was there was an Australian series that came out when I was younger, which maybe some of your viewers know, but it was called Tomorrow When the War Began. And basically what it was is it's set in Australia. And when it's been a while since I've read it, it's either the Chinese or the Japanese decide to invade Australia. And it's about these group of rebellious teenagers who want to fight back. They all live in a small country town. They've all got access to firearms. At the time, when firearms were legal here, they all sort of have that mentality, well, let's fight back. And it ended up being a really good series. John Marsden was the guy who wrote it. And I really, really liked that. There's been a movie, there's been a couple of TV shows about it, but nothing quite captured that survival, rebellious revolution spirit like that series. And that is when Jamie would tell me about Ancora when he was writing it, that's what drew me to the series. And at that stage, I'd read The Emu War and I'd read the first novella in the Wedding Nights trilogy. And I said, okay, cool, give it to me when it's done and I'll read it, because I'm a spelling and grammar Nazi. So I will find, we interviewed so many authors. I've got, while it's also great, it's not good for my wallet because I end up buying pretty much every author's book that we interview. And I've gotten to know these authors, and I think I might be annoying them with, I read their books that have been published and I find spelling mistakes, and then I have to let them know. And they're all like, well, you need to be my ARC reader because I need to know before I publish them. So that was the initial inspiration for me reading Ancora before it came out. And I fell in love with the world. I really like Jamie's way of telling a story. I'm a massive fantasy reader. So 50,000 words, I think 150 pages. It's a quick read for me because I'm used to, Stephen King was the horror writer that was my favorite, and his books are 1,000 pages sometimes. And like with fantasy, Brandon Sanderson, obviously Tolkien, another one is John Flanagan. I really like his stuff. So I'm used to big books. So I was happy that he has a way of telling the story without spending a chapter describing a tree, but he still gives you that immersive experience, so you feel like you know everything about the world. And that's a big thing for me because, like I mentioned before, I need to know everything about every character. And I can't research this. My research thing is messaging Jamie going, hey, what about this character? And then as we know, that turns him into writing other books. So maybe I should stick with that. But Ancora was amazing. I really loved it. It made me want more as soon as I finished it. And it also made me fall in love with the character Destin, which is the main character in the book that is releasing today, is it? Or tomorrow? Today. Yeah, so it's the book that's releasing today. And I remember after reading that flashback scene in Ancora, I reached out to Jamie and I said, man, we need to know more about Destin. Like, can you tell me a bit more of his story? You know, he's such a cool character, and his band of revolutionaries, you know, every single one of them had a unique feature or, you know, a unique background and made you want to know more about these guys. And I think, you know, the idea was probably rolling around in his head already. I can't take full credit for it. But when he told me he was writing the prequel, I was like, yes. And then he told me it was going to be longer, and I'm like, yes. And I think this one you need to send me as soon as you finish it, because I really, really want to read it ASAP. So I think out of all the guests we had on our podcast for Jamie's book launch, I'd read it the longest before. So I was trying to get everything back in my head, but it is a really good origin story, not only for Destin, but for the world that he's created. And, you know, just the fact that he did all these cameos from all these authors that we've interviewed and people that we know, and like little things with, you know, when we did the book launch for Ancora, we had our friend Amy Cormack on the podcast, and he actually hadn't finished the book at that time because he had a newborn child. Which is fair enough. And he typed into ChatGPT what would happen. It gave it all the information from the story and said what would happen in the story. And it came up with this crazy thing where it said the aliens were, you know, toasters that had come to life and all this kind of thing. I know it was completely weird. But the fact that Jamie took that and put one little sentence in the story when they're in a town of a lady of an alien going, get your toasters. And, you know, for people who knew that, I love stuff like that. I love little throwbacks and little Easter eggs. But this story is by far the best. I'd say that with every novel he writes, he gets better. And like he said, there's less and less things for me to nitpick and find. You know, with the new book that he's working on that I've read the first 12 chapters of, there was only one suggestion that I made, and it wasn't a grammatical or spelling thing. It was just a pacing thing. And, you know, to his credit, he always takes my feedback on board. And I think that Destin at the moment is his best work. It gives you, if you've read Ancora, or even if you haven't read Ancora, it's a great way to start this series, and you will get something out of it if you haven't read Ancora, and you will get a whole lot more out of it if you have, because a lot of little questions that I had from Ancora were answered in Destin. Now, obviously, I don't want to spoil anything, but he has a really, really unique way of writing, and I think that's pretty impressive.
Awesome. I love that. So at this point, I would love to give you an opportunity, Jay, to go ahead and read from the book if you feel so inclined. I'll leave it up to you.
To save spoilers, I'll just read the prologue.
Perfect. Because
the prologue is essentially setting up the world. It's the story of, well, let's just say the aliens that come. Bit of the history. Okay, reading voice. I wasn't yet born when they descended upon us. Hell, my parents weren't even born. But I've seen the footage in all its high-def glory. They played around the clock in every major city in the world. the jagged oblong ships appeared from nowhere. Their green and yellow lights shone brighter than the cities they floated above. Their message of peace was broadcast to every screen around the world, and the people bought it. They offered cures for diseases and ways to prolong our lives. They promised knowledge to tame the weather. Earth's tragedies would be but a memory, and the people bought it. They spoke of how the world they had fled was dying, and all they sought was safe refuge. They were patient and kind, promising only to stay if they were welcome, and the people bought it. A global vote was put in motion, and inside their ships they stayed until the verdict came. 10 days passed, and the red carpet was laid out for our uninvited guests. The celebrations echoed around the world, and peace went viral. And so they lived among us, earning our trust. They kept their word by integrating their technology with ours, making our energy cleaner and more efficient. Their scientists paved the way for breakthroughs in medicine, all while eagerly helping us become better versions of ourselves. This world is still yours, they said. We only wish to see it live on. Those words became a mantra, the thing to say online, a bumper sticker for our cars. The concerns of the skeptics were drowned out by the cheers of those who were blinded by their charismatic charm and promises of a better future. 20 years passed, and still the people cheered as our visitors gained more and more power and influence. They became politicians, journalists, influencers, and celebrities. No one even batted an eye when the position of Governor General was given to someone not of our world. And again they said, "This world is still yours. We only wish to see it live on." And then came the scandals. Careers ruined by secrets and lies pushed by a media almost entirely owned by our uninvited visitors. Those who truly served were shunned from society, and their fabricated crimes were irredeemable in the eyes of the people. Those who spoke out were taken to places unknown, only to return, donning the symbol of our visitors like a badge of pride, a circle of greens and yellows matching the lights of their ships. And so another 20 years passed, and our uninvited visitors were held in the highest regard. Their achievements were hailed as triumphs of perseverance and ingenuity. The oceans were clean, the streets free of litter, and the world was healed. And as they sat on their human-free council, they said once more, "This world is still yours. We only wish to see it live on." And again the people cheered as cities were renamed. They cheered as a heavy surveillance became a way of life. They cheered as exclusion zones were enforced and humans were pushed further out from the central hubs. They cheered for the endless entertainment that consumed their minds. The comfort of their homes left little appeal for the outdoors. Only those who served a specific purpose ever ventured outside, either to work the power grids, to build and maintain the infrastructure, to entertain the docile, or to crush internal threats. This world is still yours, they say, but I have a hard time believing it. They call themselves the Ketharim, our saviors from the stars. If they ever come to your world, turn them away.
Awesome. It's pretty good. I like that.
It's the first time I've read it out loud.
Well, you did a great job. I think you did great. As long as you're not shaking.
No. I'm no Tim McKay. I can't do audiobooks yet.
Just gotta practice. You know? Yeah, I can't read my own book out loud. I can do voices. I've been doing voices, but I can't read my own. Stumble over my own tongue.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm excited that your book is now available for people to start taking on board. I would hope that they check out the other one because, again, it doesn't sound like it's a huge investment, folks. So you should have no problem.
The first one, it's only 99 cents on Amazon. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so you can check it out if you want.
Perfect. So that kind of leads me into the where can people find you? Give yourself a plug here for folks that listen to this and find you fascinating.
Jabryden.com. All my links are there, but I'm mostly active on X, and closely followed by Instagram, but I'm on TikTok and everything. Don't like being on TikTok, but it's actually helped with sales, so necessary evil.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, yeah, my website would be the best place to go, j@bryden.com. It's because everything is there. And yeah, grab a copy of our Destin and Ancora.
And you have a podcast, so
Yes,
people can
yes,
check that out.
Stories, the true and the fictional. We've had a lot of guests that you've had on here, and if they haven't been on here, or if they haven't been on ours yet, they will be soon, or vice versa. Yeah, check that out. It's on YouTube, and we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're an author that wants to come on our podcast, reach out. We'll be happy to have you on. Just know there's a very long list that I've been meaning to get back to because we get reached out to a lot, But yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for coming, Ryan.
It's awesome to have you both. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thank you, everybody, for watching, either now or in the future. We're in the future anyway, so. All right, guys. Thank you.